Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another effective and powerful episode here at Code Your English. I'm truly excited to have you here today because by choosing to be here, you're not just learning English, you're investing in yourself. And that's powerful. As you listen, you're sharpening your listening skills. When you repeat, you're finding your voice. Every word, every sentence brings you one step closer to confidence and clarity. So today, this is more than just a podcast. It's your practice space. It's your speaking partner. It's a moment you've chosen to grow. Let me start with something very simple and very human. Have you ever promised yourself something and then you did not do it? Maybe you said, "Tomorrow I will wake up early." But when the alarm rang, you turned it off and slept again. Or maybe you told yourself, "I will study English today." But the day finished, and you were busy with your phone, social media, or just feeling tired. Maybe you said, "I will start eating healthy," or "I will start exercising," or "I will start working on my dream." But somehow, you did not start. And here is another question. Have you ever said, "Tomorrow I start for real"? But when tomorrow came, nothing changed. Then the next day, you said the same thing again. If this sounds like you, please know something important. You are not strange, and you are not alone. This happens to many people. It does not mean you are lazy. It does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. But something quiet happens inside us when this repeats many times. A small voice inside starts to say, "Maybe my words are not serious. Maybe I cannot trust myself." We may not say this out loud, but we feel it. We feel a little less confident. We feel a little disappointed in ourselves. This is not because we are bad people. It's because our actions and our words are not working together. So today, here on Code Your English, we will talk about something very important and very powerful. Self-trust. Self-trust means trusting yourself like you trust a good friend. When a good friend says, "I will help you," you believe them. Today, we will learn how to become that kind of friend to ourselves. Someone whose words feel safe, real, and strong. What is self-trust? Simple explanation. Now, let us understand something very important in a simple way. What is self-trust? Self-trust means believing your own words. It means that when you say you will do something, you actually do it. It sounds very small, but it is very powerful. It is not about being perfect. It is about being honest with yourself through your actions. When your mouth says one thing and your body does the same thing, self-trust grows inside you. Think about this in a normal daily situation. Imagine you tell yourself, "I will study English for 10 minutes tonight." Later, when it is time, you sit down and study for those 10 minutes. That moment may look small, but something big happens inside you. Your brain learns, "My words are real. When I say something, it happens." That feeling is self-trust. It is a quiet confidence. You start to feel safe with yourself. Now, let us compare this with friendship, because it is easier to understand. Imagine you have a friend. One day your friend says, "I will help you tomorrow." But tomorrow comes, and they do not come. Again they say, "Next time, I promise." But next time, they cancel again. After some time, what happens? You stop believing their words. Even if they say, "Trust me," your heart does not fully believe them. Not because you hate them, but because their actions and words do not match. The same thing happens inside us. Inside you, there is a you who speaks and a you who acts. When the speaking you says, I will do this, but the acting you does something different, trust inside you becomes weaker. You may still make plans. You may still have dreams. But a small part of you says, maybe we will not do it. This is not loud, but it changes how you feel about yourself. Self-trust grows in a very simple way. Here is the key sentence to remember. Self-trust grows when your actions match your words. The word when is important. It shows a condition. When this happens, that happens. When your actions follow your words, trust grows. When your actions do not follow your words, trust becomes smaller. It is like a system. It is not magic. It is a result of repeated behavior. Also, self-trust is not about big promises only. It is not only about life goals like changing your career or moving to another country. Self-trust lives in small daily moments. When you say, I will go to bed earlier, and you do. When you say, I will practice speaking today, and you do. These small actions send a strong message to your mind. You can believe me. Over time, this message becomes a belief, and that belief changes how you walk, how you speak, and how you live. So in simple words, self-trust means you feel that your own words have value. You feel that you are a person who keeps promises, not only to others, but also to yourself. And just like trust in friendship, it is built slowly, through many small, honest actions. The hidden problem. How we break trust with ourselves. Now let's look at a quiet problem that many people do not see clearly. This is the hidden problem. It is how we slowly break trust with ourselves in daily life, in very normal situations. These moments look small, but they happen again and again, and they teach our brain something important. Think about the morning. At night you say, tomorrow I will wake up early. You imagine a good morning. You imagine feeling productive and proud. But when the alarm rings, you feel sleepy. Your hand moves to the snooze button. 5 more minutes, you say. Then 5 minutes become 20. Finally, you wake up late. The day starts with a small disappointment. Nothing terrible happened, but something inside you feels a little weak. Or maybe you say, today I will study English. You really mean it. You want to improve. But later, you sit with your phone just for a minute. You start scrolling. 1 video becomes 5. 5 minutes become 1 hour. At night you remember your plan, but now you feel tired. You say, it's okay, I will do it tomorrow. Again, the promise is not finished. Another example is about food. You tell yourself, I will eat healthy this week. But during the day, you see snacks, fast food, or sweets. You feel stress or boredom, and you choose junk food. While eating, you may enjoy it, but later you think, why did I say something I didn't follow? It is a small break between your words and your actions. And there is one more sentence many people say, I will start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes a magic day where everything will be perfect. But when tomorrow comes, it looks like today. You feel the same. You have the same problems. And again you say, maybe tomorrow. Days pass, but the start never happens. Dreams stay in the future, not in real life. Now, here is the important part. Each time this happens, your brain is learning. The brain is always learning from experience, not from intentions. When you say something but do something different, your brain does not focus on your good plan. It focuses on your action. It slowly learns a message. My words are not important. What I say is not serious. You may not think this sentence clearly, but your confidence becomes lower. You stop feeling strong about your own decisions, but please understand something very important. This is not because you are lazy. Many people think, I am just a lazy person, but that is not the real reason. The real problem is a broken system. The system inside you connects promise to action to success. If promises are too big, too emotional, or not clear, the system does not work well. Then you fail, feel bad, and make another big promise. Again, you fail. This cycle repeats. So the problem is not your personality. It is the way you make promises and the way you try to follow them. When the system is not healthy, self-trust becomes weaker over time. But the good news is this: if a system can be broken, it can also be fixed. And the first step to fix it is awareness. Seeing clearly how these small daily moments are teaching your brain what to believe about you. Why self-trust is a skill, not personality. Now we come to a very hopeful and important idea. Many people believe something that sounds true, but it is not completely correct. They say, I am not a disciplined person, or I am just not the type who can stay consistent. They think this is their personality, something fixed, something they cannot change. Because of this belief, they stop trying in a healthy way. They think, this is just how I am. But today, we look at this in a different way. Self-trust is not a personality. It is a skill. And this changes everything. Personality sounds permanent, like eye color. A skill is different. A skill can be learned, improved, and practiced. When you see self-trust as a skill, you move from I can't to I can learn. That small change in thinking opens the door to growth. Think about learning English. Maybe in the beginning, English felt difficult. You did not understand many words. Speaking felt scary. You made mistakes. If you believed, I am just bad at languages, you might have stopped. But if you believed, English is a skill, and skills grow with practice, you continued. Slowly, word by word, sentence by sentence, you improved. You can see that now because you are listening to this podcast in English. That is proof that skills can grow. Let's take another example. Cooking. The first time someone cooks, the food may not taste very good. Maybe it is too salty or too burned. But people do not say, I was born a bad cook, so I will never cook again. Instead, they try again. They learn recipes. They watch others. With practice, they become better. Cooking is not magic. It is a skill built step by step. Driving is the same. In the beginning, driving a car feels stressful. You must think about the steering wheel, the pedals, the mirrors, the road, and the signs. It feels like too much, but with time and repetition, the body and brain learn. After practice, driving feels more natural. What was once difficult becomes normal. This is how skills work. Self-trust works in the same way. It grows through repeated action. It grows when you make a small promise and keep it, again and again. You are training your brain, just like in English, cooking, or driving. At first, it may feel hard to follow your own plan, but with practice, it becomes easier. Your system becomes stronger. Here is a key idea to remember. Skills grow with practice, not with feelings. Many people wait to feel ready or feel motivated. But feelings change every day. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel tired, bored, or stressed. If you only act when you feel good, you will not practice enough. Skills need repetition more than emotion. This means you can build self-trust even on days when you do not feel confident. You can still do a small action. That action is practice. You are teaching your brain, even when I don't feel perfect, I can still move. Over time, this practice becomes your new normal. So instead of saying, I am not disciplined, you can say, I am learning the skill of self-trust. That sentence is powerful. It means you are in training, not in failure. And anyone who practices a skill step by step can improve. Step 1. Make smaller promises. The micro-promise rule. Now we begin with the first real tool to rebuild self-trust, and it is very simple. It may even sound too simple, but it is powerful. This step is about making smaller promises. Many times, we do not break trust because we are bad people. We break trust because our promises are too big for our real life and real energy. Think about the promises people usually make. I will study English for 2 hours every day. I will go to the gym every morning. I will wake up at 5 a.m. from now on. These promises sound strong and exciting. In the moment, we feel motivated. We imagine a new life. But after a few days, real life comes. We feel tired. We have work, family, stress, or low energy. Then we miss one day. After that, it becomes easier to stop completely. The promise was too big for our current system. When promises are too big, failure becomes very easy. And each failure hurts self-trust. Your brain says, again we said something big, and again we did not do it. This is not because you are weak. It is because the step was too large. If you try to lift a weight that is too heavy, your muscles fail. It does not mean your body is useless. It means the weight is wrong for your level. So here is the new rule, called the micro-promise rule. You make promises that are very small, almost too easy. For example, instead of saying, I will study English for 2 hours, you say, I will study English for 10 minutes. Instead of, I will exercise for 1 hour, you say, I will move my body for 5 minutes. These promises may look small, but they are realistic. You can do them even on a bad day. Here is the key sentence for this step. Make promises so small that failure feels silly. This means the promise is so simple that you almost laugh if you think about not doing it. 10 minutes of study, 5 minutes of reading, 1 page of writing, 1 short walk. These actions are small, but they are powerful because you can repeat them every day. Why does this work? Because your brain needs success experiences. Every time you complete a small promise, your brain feels a small win. It says, I said I would do this, and I did it. This creates evidence. Evidence builds belief. Slowly, your brain starts to believe, I am a person who keeps promises. This belief is the foundation of self-trust. Also, small promises reduce fear. Big promises create pressure. Pressure creates stress. Stress makes action harder. Small promises feel safe. When something feels safe, you are more likely to start. And starting is the most important part. After 10 minutes, you may even continue more. But even if you stop at 10 minutes, you still win, because you kept your word. Over time, these small actions grow your confidence. Confidence is not built by big dreams. It is built by small, completed actions. When you collect many small successes, your self-image changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and fails. You start seeing yourself as someone who decides and does. So this first step teaches us something important. To build self-trust, we do not need big, heroic actions. We need small, honest promises that we keep again and again. This is how credibility with yourself slowly comes back. Step 2. Do it even when you don't feel like it. Now we move to the second step, and this one is about emotional maturity. It is about understanding your feelings, but not letting your feelings control every action. This step is simple to say, but powerful to practice. Do it even when you don't feel like it. Let us talk about feelings first. Feelings change all the time. In the morning, you may feel energetic. In the afternoon, you may feel tired. One day, you feel excited and motivated. Another day, you feel bored, stressed, or lazy. This is normal. Feelings are like weather. Sometimes it is sunny. Sometimes it is cloudy. Sometimes it rains. We cannot fully control the weather, and we also cannot fully control our feelings. The problem comes when we believe this sentence. I will act when I feel motivated. Motivation feels good, but it is not always there. If you only study when you feel excited, you will study only on a few days. If you only exercise when you feel energetic, you will move your body only sometimes. Then your progress becomes slow, and your self-trust becomes weak, because your actions depend on your mood. Self-trust grows in a different way. It grows when your actions are stronger than your temporary feelings. This does not mean you ignore your emotions completely. It means you understand them, but you still choose a small action. Trust is built from behavior, not from emotion. Your brain does not say, "Oh, you felt motivated. Good job." Your brain says, "You said you would do this, and you did it." That is what builds belief. Here is a powerful sentence you can repeat. I don't need motivation. I need movement. Movement means small action. It means starting, even in a small way. When you move, even a little, you break the control of your mood. You show yourself, I can act even when I don't feel perfect. That is emotional strength. Let's look at simple examples. Imagine you plan to study English for 5 minutes today. Later, you feel tired. Your mind says, not today. You are too tired. In this moment, you have two choices. You can follow the feeling, or you can follow your promise. If you open your book and study for just 5 minutes, something important happens. You feel a little proud. You think, even when I was tired, I still did it. That moment builds self-trust. Another example is walking. You promised to walk for 5 minutes, but you feel lazy and want to stay on the sofa. Again, you can listen to the lazy feeling, or you can stand up and walk a little. After 5 minutes, you may still feel tired, but you also feel stronger inside. You kept your word. That is the win. This step teaches your brain a new lesson. Before, your brain learned, when I feel bad, I stop. Now it learns, even when I feel bad, I can still do a small action. This changes your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who moves forward, not someone who waits for perfect feelings. So remember, feelings go up and down, but your promises can stay steady. You do not need to feel amazing to take a small step. You only need to move a little. And each time you do, your self-trust becomes stronger and more stable. Step 3. Track your promises. Proof for your brain. Now we come to the third step, and this step is about something very practical and very powerful. It is about tracking your promises. In simple words, it means you keep a small record of the promises you make and the promises you complete. This step helps your brain see progress, not only feel it. Many times, we do good things, but we forget them. Our mind often remembers mistakes more than successes. You may study English 3 days in a week, but if you miss one day, your brain says, you failed. It forgets the 3 good days. That is why tracking is important. It gives your brain clear proof of what you are doing right. You do not need anything special. You can use a simple notebook, a piece of paper, or a calendar on the wall. Some people use a notebook and write the date every day. Others use a calendar and mark the days. The tool is not important. The important thing is that you see your actions with your eyes. Here is how you do it. First, choose your small promise. For example, I will study English for 10 minutes, or I will walk for 5 minutes. When you finish the action, you put a small check mark, like this. That check mark looks small, but it carries a big message. It says, I did what I said. Over time, you will see many check marks in a row. This is visible success. Why does this matter so much? Because your brain believes what it sees again and again. When you look at the notebook or calendar and see many check marks, your brain receives a message. I keep my word. This is not imagination. This is evidence. Evidence means real proof. And here is the key idea. Evidence builds belief. Before, your brain may have believed, I always start and stop. That belief came from past experience. Now you are creating new experiences. Every checkmark is a new story about you. Slowly, the old belief becomes weaker, and the new belief becomes stronger. You start to feel more confident, not because someone told you that you are good, but because you see your own actions. Tracking also helps on difficult days. Imagine one day you feel tired and think, it doesn't matter if I skip today. Then you look at your calendar and see many check marks from the last days. You think, I don't want to break this line. The record reminds you of your effort. It supports your decision to continue. Another good thing about tracking is clarity. Sometimes we feel like we are not improving, but when we see our record, we understand that progress is happening. It may be slow, but it is real. This reduces negative self-talk and helps you stay calm. So this step teaches your brain through your eyes. Instead of only thinking, maybe I am improving, you can see it. A simple notebook, a calendar, and a small check mark can change how you see yourself. They turn invisible effort into visible proof, and that proof slowly rebuilds self-trust from the inside. Step 4. Stop self-attack. How to respond after failure. Now we move to the fourth step, and this step is very important for emotional safety. It is about how you talk to yourself after you make a mistake, because the truth is, you will miss a day sometimes. You are human. You will feel tired, busy, stressed, or distracted. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to not destroy your self-trust with your own words when you fail. Let's look at the old way many people react. You promise to study, but you don't. Immediately, your mind says, I am useless. I have no discipline. I always fail. These sentences feel strong and emotional, but they are not helpful. They do not make you stronger. They make you feel ashamed and small. And when you feel ashamed, you actually want to escape more, not try again. Self-attack pushes you away from action. Now let's look at the new way. You miss your promise. Instead of attacking yourself, you say, I missed today. I restart now. That sentence is calm. It is honest, but not cruel. You admit the mistake, but you do not attack your identity. You focus on the next step, not on the past. This keeps your system safe and stable. Here is an important sentence to remember. Breaking a promise is a mistake. Quitting is the real break. A mistake is one moment. Quitting is a decision. If you miss one day but return the next day, your self-trust can still grow. But if you say, I failed, so I stop. Then the system really breaks. The difference is not in the mistake. The difference is in the response. Think about a child learning to walk. The child falls many times. We do not say, "You are useless at walking." We say, "Stand up and try again." We are patient and kind. But with ourselves, we often become very hard and strict. This makes learning slower, not faster. Growth needs patience. When you speak kindly to yourself, you stay in the game. You keep trying. Your brain learns, even if I fall, I can continue. This builds strong self-trust because you are not afraid of mistakes. You know that one bad day does not destroy everything. You learn to separate behavior from identity. You did not do the action, but you are not a bad person. Also, positive self-talk does not mean lying to yourself. You are not saying, "Everything is perfect." You are saying, "I made a mistake, and I choose to continue." That is responsibility with kindness. It is a mature way of thinking. So when you miss a promise, pause for a moment. Take a breath. Say, "Okay, I missed today. I restart now." Then do the next small action. That moment of restarting is very powerful. It shows that you are stronger than one mistake. And each time you respond this way, you protect your self-trust instead of breaking it. What happens when you build self-trust? Now let's talk about the beautiful results that come when you slowly build self-trust. This part is very motivating because it shows why all these small actions matter. When you keep small promises again and again, something changes inside you. The change is quiet, but very deep. First, you start to feel more confident. Confidence does not come from saying, "I am great." It comes from experience. When you see that you can depend on yourself, your confidence becomes real. You make a plan, and a part of you believes, "Yes, I can do this." Before, you may have doubted your own plans. Now, your mind says, "We have done this before. We can do it again." This is strong, calm confidence, not loud confidence. Second, you feel less guilt. Many people carry small guilt every day. Guilt from not studying, not exercising, not doing what they said. This guilt is heavy. It stays in the background of the mind and steals energy. But when you start keeping your promises, even small ones, this guilt becomes smaller. At night, you feel more peaceful because you know you respected your own word. Another result is more calm. When you don't trust yourself, your mind feels busy and stressed. You think about all the things you should do but are not doing. This creates mental noise. But when your actions and words match more often, your mind becomes quieter. You feel more organized inside. There is less inner conflict, less fighting with yourself. You also begin to make better decisions. When self-trust is weak, decisions often come from emotion. You choose what feels good in the moment, not what is good for your future. But when you trust yourself, you can pause and think. You can choose the small action that matches your goals. Because you believe you will follow through, your decisions become more serious and thoughtful. One of the most powerful changes is that you start believing yourself again. When you say, "I will start," it is not just a wish. It feels like a real plan. Your words have weight. Your promises feel alive. This changes how you see your future. You stop feeling stuck in the same cycle. You start feeling that change is possible because you are part of the change. All of this leads to a very beautiful state. Here is a line to remember. Your mind becomes a safe place. A safe place means you are not afraid of your own thoughts. You are not tired of your own promises. You feel that you and yourself are on the same team. There is more cooperation inside you, and less self-criticism. When self-trust grows, life does not become perfect, but you become stronger. Challenges still come, but you face them with more stability. You know you can rely on yourself for small actions, and small actions, repeated over time, create big changes. This is the quiet power of self-trust. Short reflection. Questions for you. Now we arrive at a very important moment in this podcast. This is your reflection time. This part is not only for listening, it is also for speaking practice and thinking practice. When you answer questions out loud, your English improves, and at the same time, your understanding of yourself becomes deeper. So if you can, speak your answers softly or in your mind. Give yourself time. There is no hurry. First, think about this question. What promise do you often break? Try to be honest, but calm. Do not judge yourself. This is not a test. Maybe it is a promise about studying. Maybe it is about sleeping early, exercising, eating healthy, or working on a goal. Choose one promise that happens again and again in your life. Say it in a full sentence if you can. For example, I often promise to study English, but I don't always do it. Take a few seconds now. Think. Speak. Let your answer be simple and clear. Now we go to the second question. What small promise can you start today? Remember the idea of micro-promises, not something big and difficult, something small and realistic, something you can do even if you feel tired. For example, I can read one page in English, or I can practice speaking for 5 minutes, or I can walk for 5 minutes. Your promise should feel light, not heavy. Say your small promise out loud. This is important. When you say it with your voice, it feels more real. Pause and answer. Here comes the third question, and this one makes your plan stronger. What time will you do it? A promise without time is like a dream. It is not clear. Choose a simple time. For example, I will do it at 7 p.m., or I will do it after dinner, or I will do it before I sleep. When you choose a time, your brain can prepare. Say the full sentence. I will do this at... Take a moment now and say your time. As you answer these questions, you are doing two things. You are practicing English, using real sentences about your life. And you are also building self-awareness. You are learning to speak to yourself in a clear and practical way. This is how change begins, not with big speeches, but with small, honest decisions. If your answers feel simple, that is good. Simple is strong. Complex plans often fail. Small, clear steps often work. After this podcast, try to remember your promise and your time. And when you complete it, notice how you feel. That small feeling of "I did it" is the beginning of stronger self-trust. As we come to the end of this episode, let us slow down for a moment and take a calm breath together. You have listened carefully. You have thought about your habits. And maybe you even answered the reflection questions. That is already a step forward. Learning is not only about big actions, it is also about quiet understanding. Today, you gave time to both your English and your inner life, and that matters. Before we finish, remember the most important idea from this whole talk. Change begins with small steps. Not big dramatic promises, not perfect days, not strong motivation all the time. Just small, honest actions, repeated gently. One small promise, one small action. That is enough to start rebuilding trust with yourself. Big change often looks small in the beginning. Also remember something very important about you. You are not broken. If you have broken promises in the past, it does not mean there is something wrong with who you are. It only means the system you were using did not work well. And today, you learned a new system. A system of smaller promises, action over mood, tracking progress, and speaking kindly to yourself. Systems can be changed, and when the system changes, results can change too. Trust does not grow in one day. It grows slowly, like a plant. You water it with small actions. Some days you see growth, some days you do not notice much. But if you continue, the roots become stronger. Be patient with yourself in this process. Self-trust is not built with pressure. It is built with consistency and kindness. There may be days when you feel tired again, or when you forget your promise. When that happens, do not say, "I failed." Say, "I restart." Each restart is a sign of strength, not weakness. Every time you come back to your promise, you are coming back to yourself. That is a powerful thing. Thank you for spending this time here on Code Your English. By listening, you practiced your English. By reflecting, you practiced self-awareness. I am really glad you were here, and I am proud of the effort you are making for your growth. Keep going, slowly and steadily. And take this final thought with you today. Keep one small promise today. That is how you come back to yourself.